Well, I had to make a trip out to the bank and do a return at UPS today. And while I was out, I got the car wash, and right next to the car wash is Ace Hardware. So swung in there real quick, and found this bracket. It's about $4, and this will be the bracket I'm going to make to fit around that, and then drill the holes to make everything work. And then this will be nice and sturdy. So I also picked up a couple more because I had bought these bumper fender quick connects, whatever you want to call them. So I'm going to build the bracket because I'm not going to spend $20 or $30 to have somebody basically make a bracket, which these brackets are way stronger than the one they sell with their kit. So $8 worth of brackets and less than $20 for these buttons. You can make your own bumper quick connects for $20 or $30. So I'm going to do that too, since I got the bumper off, but I might as well. So that's what's in the bag. So now I need to get to modifying. So I need to find a Sharpie so I can draw out my lines and get that ground down and cut to where I want it, and then I'll get it mounted and plumb the lines. All right, so initially I drew that bracket line around that hole, but then as I got to looking at it, this hole is actually farther in, so I'm just gonna make this hole bigger so that that fits through that. So I'm gonna use a stepper bit and just drill through that until it's big enough, and then I'll just drill out some new holes so that these two line up with some holes on here, and we'll call that good. So we're just gonna make this a real easy bracket, and then once I get it all done, I'll paint it black. So all right, so new plan, that's what we're gonna do. So I just got my drill press set up. You could do this with a hand drill, but I happen to have a drill press, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that set up, get that drilled out. All right, so this is the bracket that's going to mount to the body of the car. This is the one that's going to go on the top of the catch can. I just need to drill the 2 holes for that, and then I just need to drill a hole farther down here, and I need to drill a hole in that. Then I can bolt that all together. And this has a curled edge, so it'll make everything nice and strong once I bolt it all back together. So, and then once I get the holes drilled and everything lined up, I will go ahead and paint everything black. And we're still waiting for some parts to come in. So we will just continue to trudge along with this until I can do something else. Alright, so the brackets are made. I'm throwing some paint on them. I'm gonna do the insides of the brackets first, and then once they've dried, I'll do the outside. I'm not really too worried about what the insides look like, so I threw some heavy coats on. I'm just gonna let it dry a couple hours, and then I'll do the other side, and then I'll go ahead and mount those 2 brackets up and get the catch can finished up. And it's gonna be kind of it for today. I just had a 45-minute phone call with a nursing agency that's supposed to be caring for my wife, and cussing and screaming seemed to be what I devolved down to. So gotta take a deep breath, take a step back. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna pick this up when I'm getting ready to mount this, but that's kind of what I came up with. I'll get a video of, or get a shot of what the brackets look like and how I'm gonna mount it. All right, so my 45-degree AN fittings finally arrived. So I guess I'll do that while I'm waiting for the paint to dry. The old story, waiting for paint to dry. Joke. All right, so hopefully this solves my problem. So let me crawl up underneath here and get these things fitted, and see, maybe I'll get something done today. Maybe I won't. I just don't know. I'm so pissed right now. Yeah, so wife comes first, everything else comes second, and if you get in the way, well, you get the shit side of me. So all right, let me get on this. All right, so the goal here is to connect this other set just like I got this one, and get that sorted out. So hopefully that will work. Let me get this up in here. All right, it looks like it's there. So there's the two lines, there's my angles. It might be hard. No, there we go, I can get up there. So now I can get my finger between there, so we're not touching the two lines. This line is not touching the block, so that's a plus. Okay, that's actually not bad. Then I will just have to figure out where I'm going to put these lines. I guess I'll put another set of clamps like right here. That'll keep those from touching together. So next step will be to put some thread lock on the threads of the bung on the top side. Put some a little bit of oil on the O-ring on the top. Get that tightened down, and then, oops, sorry, trying to get these all tightened down so that they're not rubbing or touching. The trick part may be getting all of the joints tight, but I think what I'll do is I'll come in here with a bit of a weight pin and I'll mark where they are, pull it back off here, tighten these sections up, so that all I have to do is worry about tightening that up. All right, and then yeah, that's not too bad. All right, so goddamn cobwebs, look at that shit. Already back, I just vacuumed all that out of there. Yeah, and they're Black Widow too. Great. I hate Black Widows. All right, so that's gonna work out pretty good. So my hoses are in place. Now I just gotta make sure, and then they clear the hot side of the pipe too. So I still need to move the pipe around until I can get some clearance. I may grind the edge of this bracket. Oops, you can't see that. May grind the edge of this bracket to get it away on this side. My biggest problem is going to be between here and there. As you can see, there's a rub. So I might be able to push it up closer to the turbo on that side. Maybe I can slide the pipe up a little bit to get it up out of the way. And then we just have this one section right here where this bolt is that I have to worry about. So maybe a little bit of fitting with that, so that won't be too bad. No, I don't want that oil to drip on me. All right, so let me go ahead and start trying to get these tightened up. All right, so I've tightened from the hose to the first male, leaving this one loose so I can turn it, and then I did the same thing here. Tighten this one to the first to the male so that I can turn the end. And once I get them into place, I can snug them down, and I'm going to put just a dab of my paint pen where the nut and the thing lines up. That way I can pull the hose back out, tighten them down, and have my fittings set. So I got to go back into the house and get my paint pen, because that's where I carried it last. Okay, so thread locks in. I've tightened that down to it's snug. I can still move it just a little bit. So this will allow me to go ahead and put the A and N line connectors in, and then get those tight, and then work my way out, tightening everything up. So next we'll do the inside one, so we can make sure we have enough clearance. Once I have clearance, I can go ahead and snug this all the way down, but I want to make sure I have enough clearance for that to make the turn there. Okay, so I've got these just test fitted in to make sure that I have the angle. I've gone ahead and snugged this sandwich plate all the way down so the thread lock can tighten up. Now I'm going to pull off the outside one, get the hose connected, and then tighten all of these fittings up so that I have the right angle. Alright, so I got the one in and it fairly snugged in. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten up one side of this so that I won't have to worry about it moving around so much. And then we'll get that sorted, get that in. I may have to, I'm gonna drop the hot pipe anyway, but I'm gonna try to get this in there without having to do it right this second. But there's not a whole lot of room to work with, so sometimes you have to take more off to get things in. But the last thing I want is it to rub on anything, whether the block or the hoses themselves or the hot pipe. So I want to get this set right the first time so I don't have to come back and do it again later. Alright, so after much fiddling, I got the 2 lines in. I got the sandwich plate tightened down. I've got no rubbing, just barely a little bit of clearance on both sides of that. Not rubbing against the block on this side. Now, I was not able to tighten this line here, this one right here, so it's still loose. So when I drop the hot pipe, I'll be able to get to it. But right now, that's the only one that's loose. I'll go back through once the hot pipe is out of the way and double check and make sure they're all super tight. I do have a bolt hole right here that I can use to like clamp these together a little bit, and I'll make sure that nothing rubs. But yeah, that doesn't look too bad. So at least we got some clearance. Now hopefully when I adjust the hot pipe, it doesn't cause more issues with rubbing. But I think once everything is clamped and put up out of the way, I think we will be golden. Cool. At least that's the project done. So yeah, so the next thing I'll have to do is pull one of the 2 lines. Actually, I'm going to pull them both eventually, but pull the line, fill the cooler with oil, then backfill the lines with oil. I'll put an oil filter on, that way it doesn't just pour out all over the ground, and then there won't be any air in the system, so that when I start the car it won't have oil starvation, and it should be good to go. Alright, I'm going to throw some more clamps. I'm going to adjust these clamps so that the lines are in a good position, and then I need to measure what the diameter of these 2 lines are so that I can get the right kind of clamp and put in there. So, alright, well at least that's gone. The paint's just about dry on the bracket for the oil can, so maybe I'll get that done here pretty quick too. It's almost dinner time. I need a break anyway. Okay, so I added another one of these spacers, but I just found this open threaded hole right here. So if I had a clamp, I could just push that up a little bit and it would clamp everything up and out of the way. As you can see, it's not going to rub. So yeah, we'll get that clamped down. We've got just enough space everywhere else. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. Everything else will just need to be clamped, and again I'm hoping that when I put the fender back on, or the bumper back on, we don't have any rubbing issues. But it's plastic and I don't care, and I'll cut it. Or the next choice would be to cut the lines down up here and put new ends on it and shorten the lines if I had to. So that would be another option. It would prevent me from having to do anything on the bottom. So I could do that. If it rubs, I could always shorten the lines up a couple inches and put new ends on them. Always have options. Okay, so all of my little red clamps are tight. So if I, like I said, if I brought that up to where that hole is, that's going to give me all sorts of space, and then maybe I can make a bracket coming off of this thing and grab hold of the line up here as well. I'll give it 2 points to get it up off, but yeah, that looks pretty good. Whew. All right, I'm glad that worked out. It is a tight fit, that's for damn sure. I just barely clear the bottom of the vacuum pump there and just barely clear the edge of the block. So hopefully I don't have to take those back out. But once I get them all, they're all snug down or tight down, except for that one fitting. But again, I'm gonna drop the hot pipe next because it definitely rattles, and we'll see about getting that out. And yep, I think that's it for today, or for at least for right now anyway. I might have some energy later and come back out and do something else. Oh, I still need to connect the catch can up once that paint dries, but that should be easy. It should just be 2 bolts and a couple of hoses. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go check those right now. Oh shit, it's animal feeding time, so I'm sure the pets will want fed first. I'll be back in a while. Okay, so the brackets I'm going to be using, fucking train. So the brackets I'm going to be using are this one I bought from the hardware store. It's like $4, and this was a bracket I had laying around from when I parted out another car. It just happens to be the right shape, so I'm going to bolt those 2 together. Then I'm going to bolt that to that, and then bolt this whole thing in the car. So step 1, bolting these 2 together. Okay, so that's how that's going to go together. That part here is going to bolt to the car, and that's going to bolt to the oil canister, and we're going to hook that up next. All right, and now that's all mounted, so I can put that in the car. Regretfully, I just scratched up my paint because I dropped the damn bracket on the ground, but for now it'll work, and I can touch it up later. All right, so that's my catch can setup. So I've got a 3/8 on one side and 5/16 on the other, and they're on there nice and tight. Brackets on there, ground straps back on there. Gives me enough room down there to clear stuff. So yeah, that should work out pretty nice. So the next part will be go ahead and actually getting onto the straps for the cold air or cold pipe for the intercooler. I also ordered some straps for the oil cooler line so I can secure them so they don't flop around. And I guess the next part after, so I'll be doing the upper pipe, and I'll take the lower pipe off and try to figure out a better way to route it, and that way I can finish tightening up the oil cooler lines, and then I'll go ahead and bleed that system and put the oil filter on. I'll put the radiator plug back in and start filling coolant up. So at least this part of the project will almost be done, so could actually almost start it here in the next day or 2. I do need to go buy a battery because that one's dead. This was 2018, so it's been in the car for a minute. All right, and then yeah, so that's where we're at. So I'm gonna try to start fitting this strap in here. Double check everything. I've already retightened all these bolts. I tightened the throttle body. I've left this one cable clamp off, cable, the coupler clamp loose so that I can move that around. But yeah, so that's where we're kind of at today. So yeah, it doesn't look too bad so far. Now hopefully those will not interfere with the front bumper once I put it back on. That's the goal. All right, so I got my clamp in place, and I literally have just a little bit of room between the top of the intercooler and the orange pipe, and just a smidgen of room between that. But the nice thing about that is it ain't going nowhere. And I got one on this side, so it only took 2 clamps, one over here, one over here. I still have to finish tightening this one up, and then I'm throwing some a double nut and some blue thread lock on that just to keep it from backing off. But yeah, that's gonna work. Now that's completely tight. It's not rattling against anything. The pipes aren't moving around. So that works really well. So the next part will be pulling the bottom pipe, figuring out its routing. So all in all, I got quite a bit accomplished today. Kind of surprising. All right, so I'll pick this up tomorrow and hopefully maybe start flushing out the oil cooler. So yeah, these 2.5 inch rubber isolated clamps. These are stainless steel, so pack of 5 was like, God, was it $20-30 or something? No, what was it? $12. I don't remember. I'll put a link to these in the description in case anybody else wants to try it. Yeah, and these clamps here came from Amazon as well. So man, these are really multifunctional. I use them for everything. I even have them on the harness bar in the car to mount my GoPro to, because they are, once you tighten them down, they are sturdy as hell. I mean, the intercooler is not, oil cooler is not going to go anywhere unless I smash into something. So alrighty, I'm going to finish tightening this one up and call it a night.